Welcome to the Toke&Trans. What do I say? Welcome to the Toke&Trans podcast, where we talk life, love, and getting high. Grab a J and join us. We do not condone the consumption of illicit activities with anyone under the age of 21.
Welcome to the Toke&Trans podcast, everybody. It's your boys, Aaron and Bo. And today we're talking about answering a question. Am I trans?
Am I trans? We get this one. I've gotten this one in the comments, in the DMs. I'm not sure if I'm trans. I'm exploring my gender identity, these types of things. So we figured we would share our experiences of how we sorted ours. Obviously, we are not like trained professionals like that explain and can like dig into your gender identity specifically enough to be able to say that you are trans. But if you're feeling those things, you should definitely talk to someone who's trained, like a trained professional, therapist, things like this. But I did think it would be helpful to pop on here and talk about how we were able to understand our own gender identity in our specific situations. And yeah, kind of talk about it.
Yeah. So when would you say, how old were you, would you say, when you knew for a fact that you were not a woman?
When I was not a girl.
Yeah.
I knew I did not identify as a female. Like, I knew this is totally not right. This does not feel right. When I was I was in like second or third grade, I started to notice that like my brothers and I were started to be treated differently in how we were being raised. No longer where we were both, learning ABCs and things like that. But now we're starting to learn how, like, that girls wear like sports bras at times as they grow, and like boys swim with their shirts off, and girls actually have to put something on at a certain age. So that's when they started to split, and I didn't really understand the difference, and I felt more aligned with the things that they were teaching my brothers and not my sisters. And I felt immediately like I was on the wrong side of the playing field. Like something is not right then. And that was in like second or third grade. I'd flip my hat backwards, and I would I'd call myself Dan the Man, as like a alternate little personality, I guess, that would made me feel like I'm, like this is more comfortable for me. Maybe if I tell you that I'm pretending, you'll let it slide a little bit easier, and I can just be me for a little while. And so that's probably the earliest time I realized that I was not like other girls, and I didn't think being called a girl was for me. They didn't feel right, and I made me squirm, in all senses of it.
Right.
Yeah. When did you know? When did you start thinking about that for yourself and being like, what's going on?
Well, much later.
Yeah.
And I will say that I usually attest that to not knowing that, not having the words, not knowing that transgender was a thing.
Vocabulary. Yeah.
But right, vocabulary is super important.
I didn't know these words exist.
Right. So my mom would always say that I was different and I was weird. I grew up a tomboy.
Yeah.
I was really comfortable being in the masculine side. I did not like the girly clothes. I did whatever I could to get the most like masculine clothes in the girls section.
Yeah.
Dark
colors.
Punk, right? Yes, goth. My mom was cool as fuck. When I asked for clothes and stuff, I was like, give me the trip pants, not the tight ones, the big baggy ones with all the chains. And so I would get trip pants for Christmas and shit, and like big black band t-shirts, and like that was where it's at for me, because also the boys wore black eyeliner. And so I could do that too, and like still be like,
yes, walking that line.
Yeah, right. So it was just, and I wanted so bad to learn how to skateboard because all of the boys in my school were like skater boys and stuff, and
Yes.
I was really way more interested in aligning myself with the things that the boys my age were doing than what the girls were.
Mhm.
And when I was younger, we would go to like this park in Delaware called Piccadilly Castle, and it's like this big wooden castle with like all these different kinds of like tunnels and stuff to go through, and like monkey bars and stuff. It's just like this giant castle.
Yes.
And I'm an only kid, so whenever I would go there, I would just find friends to play with there. And, you know, they'd be like, "What's your name?" I would always tell them, because I'm never seeing these kids again. I would always tell them like a different boy name.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'd be like, "I'm Kyle." And they're like, "That's the boy name." And I'm like, "Yeah."
So I could still
I'm
run
Ryan.
faster than you, bro.
So that's when, like, looking back, I'm seeing things that are making more sense.
You're exploring. Yeah.
But I didn't have the vocabulary till I was like in my 20s. And
To
like
say
early
that
1920s.
I know for sure that I'm trans. Like this
Right.
is it. And
Yeah.
so when was your
Because
this is it moment?
my this is it moment was when my friend Quinn came out on Tumblr.
Were you at 20? Was this that 20 time you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was like 21.
Yeah.
My friend Quinn came out on Tumblr as gender fluid and they them pronouns. And I read their whole post and I was like, "This is amazing. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, Quinn.
Yeah.
How do I use your pronouns? And also, what? Like,
Also,
is this something a person can be? Like, can you please like tell me about it more? Tell me more. Tell me everything
more.
because
I need more. Yeah.
I need more. Like, this is like, it's like, I was like, wait. Because like, this is something here. This is something. And like, you know, you just know. And I after my discussion with Quinn, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna feel this out. But thankfully, you know, I have my online community to test the waters with, which that's fucking trans culture. Okay. Yeah. Like nowadays,
survival skills.
Yes. So I came out online on Tumblr, and after a bit of that, and you know, living in it, sitting in it, and also being referred to differently in my IRL life.
Yeah.
Noticing the difference between how those two things felt, it was clear.
Yeah.
The euphoria that I felt coming from not she, her pronouns was the evidence that I needed.
Yeah.
For me to make the leap to do the real life announcement. I'm changing my name and pronouns.
Yeah.
And thankfully I was in an independent position where I could do that and not risk any great thing like housing or safety.
Sure.
I, you know, if coming out means those things, it's okay to, you know, not come out.
You need to
and
come
keep
out
it
at a time
online
that's
or
best for you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when I knew.
Yeah.
And I didn't even make these connections like to my younger life until I saw a gender therapist.
Right.
Because we mentioned in another episode, I went ahead and scheduled a gender therapy appointment so that I could get a gender confirmation letter, because I thought that I would need it to get through my medical transition. I ended up not needing it, but some people do. So, I mean, that's a good first step.
Right.
And also it's just affirming to have somebody professional say, hey, you're right.
Right.
And even if they're not right, even if you're not right,
yeah,
you most likely are, but a gender therapist is trained in this and can tell you what's going on. If it's not that, it's, you know, they can help you in some other way.
and they can usually they can explain like, oh, this is sounding a lot more like, I hear what you're saying, but I hear you're saying that could be a possibility. Have you thought about this? Where it's
Right.
like, this also sounds like, you know, other verbiage or other, you know, other terms that they know that I don't, because I'm not a professional.
Right, exactly. Like yeah, like some people have like delusions of grandeur and stuff, and that could be attributed to something like schizophrenia, or some people might go through fugue states, and that could be attributed to something like bipolar disorder. But the thing with being trans is the consistency.
Yeah.
I have consistently been this way my whole life. Yeah. Nothing changed after I found the words except my names and pronouns and how comfortable I felt being referred to as those things.
Right.
I didn't start medical transition then. It took years before I started medical transition. I was still trans.
Right. That whole time.
I was still using, that whole time I was still using a different name. I was still using, after I found out what I could do to make myself more comfortable, and I implemented those things, and then I felt more comfortable.
Yeah.
I knew that that's what I was missing. Right. And I grew up my entire life mentally ill. Okay. I want to make that very clear. I've been on 200 milligrams of lithium, 250 milligrams of trazodone, Klonopin, which is a benzodiazepine. You don't want to be on those. Oh, I could put my daily meds in my palm and you couldn't see any skin. Right. I was heavily medicated before I had the words to explain myself.
Right.
After I figured it out because, you know, of the representation I saw in front of me. Yeah. And it didn't, in my 20s, it didn't matter how much straight representation I saw. It didn't matter that everyone I knew was straight. It didn't matter that my mom never explained to me what transgender was. It didn't matter that every single person I knew was cis. Yeah. I had one instance where I saw myself represented and it clicked. Yeah. And I say that to say that haters might say. Yeah. Haters might say that like a trans representation at all is some kind of indoctrination tactic, when we know that's not true because we see straight cis people represented all the time, 24/7, in everything, everywhere. Right. Yeah, and that's not making us straight and cis.
And even when we tried, when we wanted it to.
Right.
You know, we were doing the damn thing.
Right.
It still didn't work. Yeah, absolutely.
It's right. Exactly. So, you know, you put labels on yourself like tomboy or something because you don't have anything else.
That's the only other one that you've heard that sounds like you.
Right. Exactly. So, more often than not, we for sure know once we're able to understand the vocabulary. Just like straight people know for sure that they're straight. And cis people know for sure that they're not another gender. Yeah. You know.
I had an aha moment when I was 19, 20, when I was 18 or 19 because I just graduated, and I was doing research. I was just like on YouTube. I think I was just like, I just ran into the video, you know, suggested, you know, videos and things in the algorithm and stuff. So, and I think I ran into one of Aiden Dowling's videos.
Oh.
I had thought that was so interesting. And I was like, wow, like let me deep dive on this. Let me like really look what these words mean. Like, could this be possible? Like I'd heard that in the church of people who had been having sex changes and things like that. And but I didn't know what that meant. Like, and I wasn't really paying attention. So it wasn't like something that I was able to learn anything through. And so when I found like the word like transgender and I started looking at like all of the different experiences on I just like I remember I was home alone and I was there for like hours and I was just watching like all of these countless different like unique experiences and perspectives on YouTube or in blogs or on Tumblr and all these things. And I was just getting so hype and I was like, this is making sense. Like that moment where you realize like when you finally feel affirmed like by you find who like realize who you are this whole time and that there's words for who you are. And I was so ecstatic. And I remember thinking this specific episode of Catfish that I was like obsessed with that I thought was so cool. They were ended up being catfished by and it wasn't a guy. It wasn't
I saw this one.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And it ended up being a female identifying person. And they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And they were like, yeah, I mean, I pretty much am. Like, I am a guy. It's not even like that. Like, I carry this around with me all the time. And they were packing all the time. So like they just left it like loose in their pants. And so they were explaining like, they're like, I just, I keep it on me at all times in case I need it. And I'm thinking like, well, that would be genius. Like that would be so much more comfortable. And like, man, you would feel so good just having that all the time. And like, I remember once I started diving into this, I was thinking about that catfish episode and I was thinking to myself, like, wouldn't that be so dope to just have it all the time, not thinking and putting the two things together.
Yeah.
What those things could mean for me.
Yeah.
And I saw a gender therapist and talked it out with him as well, because I would, this is a big thing. This is not something that I wanted just to be like, hey, this is what I am. Guess what, guys? This was a huge ass deal. This was like, I was still being made fun of just for liking girls, let alone looking like me or wanting to be trans. Like that was like beyond like, anything that I had seen locally or anything like that. So I definitely did a lot of deep diving within myself and self-reflection and talking to, a professional and digging in. Like you have to do the research, like, because you want to be sure you need to find out all of these things and be comfortable with yourself internally enough to say, okay, yep, this is how I feel. This is me. Now, no matter what they say, it doesn't matter because I have to live this life. I have to put my shoes on. They don't have to put my shoes on and stand here this whole time. So if I'm like looking down like this and I'm like, I'm a guy, like I'm a guy, I just don't want it to be a whole thing all the time. So if you can fall back on yourself, knowing that if you're in the room by yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, then that's the most important piece you can have before announcing it to other people, or as you're announcing it to other people, to remember, I know who I am now. I hate that you don't understand who I am now, but I am. Right. This is who I am. And I tried. I fucking tried, bro. Like, you're able to say that in those situations, like confidently, that who you are, and that makes a huge difference in these coming out situations, when you are able to come out and things like that. And it did for me.
Yeah. I realized I didn't finish what I was saying earlier when I was like, I was mentally ill and on all these pills. That changed after transition. After I came out, for some magical reason, I no longer needed any of these medications. I'm fully unmedicated now, besides being self-medicated with marijuana.
Wow.
That is it. Incredible. And I have literally never been happier. I've made attempts on my life several times before transition. I haven't made a single attempt on my life after transition. And you know, that's par for the course. The stats say the same thing, baby.
Snap it up.
I had a 41% chance of taking my life.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
And then after that 41%, we have a 41% chance of the first attempt. And then there's an additional 26% for a second attempt.
Right.
When all of that drops to virtually zero after transition for a transgender person. After in a supportive environment.
Yeah.
The environment's important.
Right.
But
stats don't lie.
Amazing.
These are numbers of real people. Like we are real people experiencing these things.
Yeah. And like you had said something earlier. I forget what it was. But like yeah, no you're not wearing my shoes.
Right. You don't have my shoes on, yeah. Right.
And what on God's green earth makes you think that I wouldn't rather be walking in yours? Like
for real. Like you.
Oh my God.
You think that's what I wanted?
Do you think I want to have a fucking major surgery that takes like months to heal? That I was in the worst pain of my life? Like I didn't want that. I needed it.
Right.
I needed it to happen. I would have much rather have enjoyed my tits.
Yeah, loved the shit out of them.
I would have rather have loved everything about my gender and gender expression and the way I was perceived. I would have loved to just have been cis and just be fine and not have to worry about changing my name, explaining why my ID doesn't match, doing all this bullshit with the bathrooms and the fucking, this is stressful, dude. I don't want it. Like
it's too much. And I'm glad you said that because like I feel that same way. And I feel that like when as a kid, like a lot of us have had adverse childhood experiences that have like left us with some trauma and like some tough experiences and tested me to the limits. I was so excited to get to 18 so I could sit my ass down and get married and have kids. In my brain, I didn't think of how that works, but in my brain, I'm sitting there and I'm married and I'm in love and I have kids and I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting on the porch in my dreams. I'm not going, I don't want to travel the world. I don't want to go to space. I think those things are dope as fuck, but I don't want to do those things. I want to sit here and I want to watch my own kid go to school and sit. So I didn't want any other extra steps than the mountain that I already had to fucking deal with. I didn't want that, but that was just in the cards for me. And who knows what my life would look like if it weren't. Like I would be on a completely, and I'm so thankful for my life and how it turned out now. And I'm able to be like, now I am married and when we have a kid on the way and these things do get better. And like, you are able to make these things come to fruition and things. But yeah, it's definitely not a hand that we would choose for ourselves.
No,
firsthand.
Absolutely not. Like
not option A.
Right. So that's just one thing I wish that people would keep in mind when they say things like that, that like trans people don't exist or like that we're like grooming children and stuff. We don't like there's no benefit. We don't need more trans people. Like we just want the people who are trans to be able to be trans.
Exist peacefully.
Right. I could care less if any of your kids are trans, but if they are trans, I just want them to grow up.
Like that would be cool. Like, cause
that would be really awesome.
Want to know why, Bo? Because we're pro-life people.
We're pro-life, bro. We're not pro-abortion.
We
are pro-abortion.
Listen, wait. We are very pro. I'm trying to say that we as people support life.
We support life. We are truly pro-life. We are not just the anti-abortion people who claim to be pro-life, because we know that in order to claim yourself as pro-life, you must care for that life from the womb to the tomb.
I'm sorry. We don't usually get political on here, but I agree. I 1000% agree. I think that it's important to care about these lives in those 18 years and beyond. And I feel like I've really dedicated a lot of my, or at least my 20s, to like this whole process of like getting to know the community and talking to trans people and getting to hear all of their unique different experiences and getting to like meet these people and meet their parents and have these parents come up to us and ask us questions, and like when we're at events or things. And it's like a whole, we just want to be there for the people that are going through the same things that we went through when we didn't know that it got better. Like,
yes,
we didn't
oh
see
my
people
God.
thriving on Instagram, trans people thriving on Instagram, or thriving on in any sense in person, or at least I sure as heck did. And so I love how I say heck and then I say like fuck sometimes. Like, it's just sometimes I like catch myself and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, we're saying heck, next sense, okay, we're saying fuck, all right, bet. Oh, okay,
yes. Oh my God,
I think
that's great.
It's important.
I was trying to be PG-13
sometimes, and then other times no. Next sentence, no. It's important to stick to people. If you stick to community, stick to people that support you and love you truly unconditionally, where they don't, because we just want to see people grow up. I think that's a wonderful way to put it.
And you know what? Like, if you're a cis person listening, just think about how uncomfortable you would feel if you weren't actually trans, but people kept treating you like you were, you know? So what I mean is that, like, if you're not actually trans, identifying as trans is going to get real uncomfortable real quick.
Yeah.
If you're assigned female at birth and you're a cis woman and you're maybe exploring your gender or not sure if you're trans, so you try on he him pronouns and change your name to Buck or something.
Sure.
And start presenting more masculine. The way that you get interacted with is going to be different, and you're going to realize real quick that that's going to be real uncomfortable.
You're going to know,
and then you're going to be like,
that's not right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I know I didn't have the language for a while to express that I wasn't comfortable with she, her. I didn't know that was something, but like, I had so many guy friends who would just call me bro, and that was where I was comfortable. So I spent a lot of my time around the bros and did bro things and acted real masculine. And like, that was affirming to me before I learned that I could change my pronouns to reflect better and affirm myself.
Right.
And it's just night and day. And night and day. And you can ask anybody who knows me. I have so many friends still from before, who knew me throughout. I've weeded out all the bad ones, so all the ones left who have been there, are good. And you can literally ask any of them; they will be like night and day. Yeah. I was depressed. I was a miserable fuck. Yeah. All the time, 24/7. I was on so many meds. I got diagnosed with so many things, and like, we learned that a lot of it was probably autism. But the need for any kind of medication to change any kind of mood disorder, any kind of stabilizer, any kind of antidepressant, I don't need it anymore, dude.
Right. That's
because I'm so fucking happy. All of that changed, and it's just, why wouldn't you want that for someone?
Right. For them to be that much exponentially happier as themselves putting on their shoes in the morning. That's simple.
Yeah. The shoes that I wear every morning don't affect you at all. And it just makes me super fucking happy. So like, just let me do it.
Yeah. And on the flip side, when I started after I transitioned, I was able to really like kind of sit with myself and further be able to talk about like the way that I was feeling with professionals and with psychiatrists and things. And I am on those medicines when I wasn't on them before, when I needed them, because I was so blinded by so many. I was just overwhelmed as a miserable fuck and just constantly stressed. I couldn't drive I got to the point where I couldn't drive anymore because I was too anxious. I was like, every time I hit the brake, I would have to like look all around me, and it was just ended up being more distracting than just having someone else drive in the first place. And I was just very miserable. And after I I was able to like first be like, okay, I have anxiety. I know for a fact I have anxiety, so I'm going to talk to somebody about that. And then that anxiety medicine was enough for a couple of years. And then I was able to start testosterone, and I was really excited about starting testosterone. And that changed so much for me about like constantly keeping my shoulders shrugged, and like my hyper awareness for people around me and how they were perceiving me in every single direction. If someone was whispering over here, if they were whispering about me, and if they were, I need to sit up straighter. And it was just a whole mess that was just unnecessary. So after I transitioned, I was able to not only have a little more ease of my anxiety and of my gender dysphoria, but then I was able to come to the realization and like sit with myself enough to like know that I still needed more help, and I still had to go and like I had to check myself into a mental facility, because I knew things were not right, and the way that I was thinking and feeling wasn't the way I wanted to think and feel my whole life. And then I was able to, to do some deep diving and find out that I'm bipolar and things like that. And I was able to kind of do it backwards from you, because I felt like there was now more space for me to deal with like the things that I was just like pushing through and fighting through, because now I'm more comfortable with me as a person, and I'm able to get to my brain instead of just not even being able to live in the body, let alone have this brain keep up with the rest of it. So either way, I definitely
you had a hierarchy of needs. Yeah. And it's hard to get to the top of the pyramid when you're still stuck at the bottom.
Absolutely.
You can't seem to get past that first step. So, I mean, I'm so glad you said that, because that makes a lot of sense. It can be really hard to manage all these compounding, medium-sized, or maybe like extra large feelings while you're dealing with a 5x problem.
Right.
That
and
can't
it's all
seem
in
to
your
be resolved.
brain.
Right. And it can also be hard to discern your feelings while you're feeling such a big one. You could be thinking that all of these things are due to the one thing.
Right.
And gender dysphoria. And you could, be like, I just got to transition. I got to make it to 18. I got to get out. I got to transition. All my problems will be solved. I know that's what I thought.
Right. Yeah.
Once I realized that was something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta get on testosterone. I gotta get on testosterone. I gotta. That's gonna change everything for me. Once I got on testosterone and I started feeling happy about the things that were happening, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling better, but now it's my chest.
Right.
Now that people are seeing me more as a man, now it's my chest. Oh man, I gotta get this off. I gotta get it off. Once I got that off, I'm good. But you felt opposite. You were like, okay, I got that taken care of, but now I'm still feeling this.
Yeah.
And now I know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
So I can talk to my professional and express myself more accurately. Right. It's not just the dysphoria. I can tell you that because the dysphoria is eased.
Right.
And now it's this, and I think it's this, or
Yeah, it's more complicated, complex feelings, and that's exactly what it was. It was just a huge stack of problems that I knew was wrong, and it was like it was like which of these puzzles, like which of these puzzle pieces are right. Like I was very like, I still struggle with being in tune with my body, but I'm definitely getting better at it. Back then, I was very out of tune with my body. I was like practically living outside of my body 24/7. So it was easier for me to like be able to dive in and be like, okay, this is the problem. I know for a fact that this is happening and that my gender dysphoria is off the chain. I can't keep it, like, it's just too much. I need to address this first. And, you know, maybe it's time I try testosterone. If it doesn't work, you know, if I don't feel good, I can stop immediately. And like, you know, I like talking out that process within myself, made it to where I was able to like, okay, now that piece of the puzzle is settled. There's still other things going on in here that doesn't feel right. I still feel really hyper. I still feel really manic. I still feel these other things, even though that has nothing to do with my gender dysphoria. My gender dysphoria is being maintained at this point. Like, so it made it just where I could pick each experience and each problem that I had within myself and be able to sort it one at a time. Just like if you have a lot of trauma, you can't sit down and in one session and talk about all the trauma and all the trauma gets fixed at once. You have to like pick apart each thing. A lot of times there's multiple events that or situations that you have to dive into to be able to have a more peace about your trauma as a whole.
Yeah. And so the big thing I think with figuring out that you're trans for sure is the consistency of these feelings. And that's why there is a timeline for this kind of thing. This isn't something that someone can just decide and do, you know. It's you got it. Most often than not, you have to see a gender therapist for several times. You have to make appointments with the same gender therapist to build a rapport before they can, you know, confirm or deny. You have to
understand.
Right. You also have to live as your gender identity for a period of time. Mine was 2 years. I had to be living 100% as a man for 2 years before I could start testosterone. I had already been doing that by the time that I was ready to start testosterone.
Either way, right?
So that's exactly what you should do. And the third stipulation was having a support system, because if you don't have a support system, then all of this is null and void.
Right.
You need to be able to be supported through this because of so many big feelings.
Everyone needs someone.
Yeah. And exactly. So thankfully, all of those boxes were checked for me before I could start testosterone. But, you know, that's something really important to consider. That, like, even for adults, it's not just something that we can just do. It's not like, hey, doc, give me some testosterone real quick. No. They ask us questions first, and we have to have certain answers to those questions before they'll approve it.
And there's a lot of maintenance too. There's a lot of, like, you know, you get your blood work done. They regularly check that you're getting your blood work done. You have to maintain the things within ourselves. Like, we have to sit down with ourselves and be like, am I still feeling all these things, feeling good? Like, my body's feeling good. There's no like big signals that I need to listen to. You know, there's a lot of things that go into these things, and it's important in that, and that you do these things with support, like you said, and with professionals.
And so
it is hard.
It is hard. I think that the two biggest things that you should probably consider when asking yourself, am I trans, is the consistency and also your euphoria. That's a big tell. Because, like earlier when I said a cis woman pretending to be a man,
right,
in the true definition of that phrase,
right,
is going to feel uncomfortable after a while. They're not going to feel euphoric. A cis woman won't feel euphoric being perceived entirely as a man. Especially, well, you know, not especially, where in my mind, I'm thinking a cis straight woman. Being perceived, like, if I was a cis straight woman and I looked like this, I would be uncomfortable, because the type of men that would be attracted to me wouldn't be the type of men that I would be attracted to as a woman. And that would be uncomfortable. I'd be treated different. I'd look weird in a dress.
Like you would feel not you.
Right, exactly. And when when I put on a dress, I feel fucking weird. I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God.
It's like you don't like it.
You don't belong in a dress, dude. You don't like it. So
it's not affirming.
Right, it's not affirming. If you're doing something affirming, if you started socially transitioning using he, him pronouns and being called by a man or vice versa, and that feels good, then you could be like, okay, let me look into, do I want hormones? Do I want
looking into
any kind of something more medical? Do I want any kind of look up the side effects?
These questions.
Right. Yeah. Look up the effects. Watch YouTube videos of people who've transitioned. A lot of people document their entire transition, and you can see what happens. Yeah. I'm like,
from those first first thoughts of, wait, maybe, and do I think I'm trans? And they do like a little video diary for themselves. They maybe not even like, I wouldn't want to talk to anybody about it until I knew for sure. Not even like the girl I was dating at the time. Like, I have to know for sure before I'm going to like just disclose that information. And I think something you said made me think immediately, like, we focus so much on gender dysphoria because that's such a big problem for us. And it's like, so feels so on the forefront, but a lot of things when you are discovering if you're trans come from a lot of the euphoria that you feel. And like right now, if you look the hashtags up on Instagram or on TikTok or Threads, even, I bet the gender euphoria tag will have less posts than the gender dysphoria tag. So imagine if we were able to get these like bigger, like get these like communities to be able to focus on, hey, what feels affirming? What feels affirming? Okay,
right.
We know this doesn't feel right, but what makes me happy? What makes me like sit up straight and be like, fuck yeah, that's me. What's up? Like, right. What makes you have that euphoric feeling about your gender that can help unlock the feelings and help you understand more to be able to defeat the dysphoria. So I think that might be a big unlock too for and keys to work backwards.
Yeah. I agree 100%. That's I think my voice just cracked. I think my I think that a lot of the naysayers, transphobes, whatever, will like compare gender dysphoria to just like normal puberty feelings.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, it's new and it's stressful and nobody likes it. And that's why you're uncomfortable. And right. I think you're onto something, bro. Because while what they're saying may be true, that like, sure, a lot of kids don't like puberty.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable.
A lot of girls don't like bras.
Right. Or periods. Like, oh.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's not fun. We get it. So it can be easy for adults, or, not just adults, but like, transphobes or, just the uneducated to say that, it's just because you're young and you don't know. And, sure. That's also why you can't do anything that's not reversible until you're 18. Frick. Yeah. And also, I had a second part to this, and I'm going to be honest with you. It just flew right out the window.
It's Toke&Trans, so we are stumped.
Wait.
Please remember. I know we make it look good, but I'm sorry. Don't lose it. Tell me. Part 2.
We were just talking about fuck. Shit. Euphoria. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. Here we go. Because nobody likes the period, right? Nobody likes puberty, right? Like, yeah, that sucks. But also those kids who don't like puberty are not the ones who are like the assigned male at birth people who feel like themselves in a skirt.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see.
They're not it's not the same. You know, like a kid could really not like how they're starting to get smelly and get hairy armpits, and like now they have to wear deodorant and like be a lot more careful about their hygiene routine.
Yeah.
And they sound like this. And you know, they can hate all of that, but if they look in the mirror with like lipstick and lashes and typically like feminine presenting items and they feel like themselves, that's not puberty. That's not being uncomfortable with puberty.
That's true.
You know,
1,000%. Yeah.
Someone socialized as a boy, finding joy, being perceived as a girl is not the same as being uncomfortable with puberty, and vice versa. Someone socialized as being a girl, being perceived as being a boy, and finding joy in that is not the same as being uncomfortable during puberty.
No, it's not.
It's not.
As a person, there's like, that's puberty aside. You're feeling those things. You're like, you're loving what you're seeing in that moment. Like when, like for me, in other episodes about my cargo shorts, when I put those shorts on, and I was like, it just blew my mind. That was my first piece of like actual, not just t-shirt, of like male article of clothing. And I was like, that's my shit. And like, that's those moments are the things that add up and help you understand and unlock these things. Are you laughing because of their cargo shorts? And like, there's a thing I'm about cargos.
The cargo shirts are fucking cute, but like,
thanks, man.
My thing was the snapback.
The snapbacks.
Yeah, that was the first boy clothes I knew that I needed.
Oh.
And like I never wore them like this. I wear them like this now because I'm just like, no, it just fucking changes everything, especially since I shaved my head. But I would wear them backwards, and it was just like,
yes,
oh, fuck.
Yes, bro.
It was like, wait, like, I did this to Tim.
He's flexing on shoulders.
I did this to Tim the other day. I've seen those like, I don't know, those like fuck boys that do that like hand rub thing.
Yeah. Oh my god, bro, you just nailed it.
They hand rub and they like lick their lips, and they're like, what's going on,
their
mommy?
hair. It's the music. Yes, that was you.
Yeah. I had to. I went to Target. I was like, as soon as I came out IRL, I was like, I want to go to Target. I want to get a snapback. Let's go.
That's where we're going.
So we went. And I did. And I got it.
Not Lids.
I was walking out like, yeah. It was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle snapback.
Let's go. Showing up looking good. Feeling fresh. Yes. That's what you gotta do. You gotta find those things that make you feel like that and hang the fuck on to those, and then refer back when you need to pick me up.
Yeah.
You have to.
So
Are
you trans? Let us know in the comments.
We just wanted to make sure that you had this information. We wanted to make sure the kids and the people that are asking for this get the answers that you're looking for. Comment below if you want an episode on something. Comment it. Questions, ask them. Let us know. Follow us on socials. We may try to post more. We may just stick to the podcast. You don't know. Stay tuned to find out. Go on our YouTube. But either way, we will do the podcast, and it is on Sundays. And we fucking love you. And you're not alone. And we will see you
in the next one.